Shalom, this is Bishop Nathaniel. 34 times the Booster Club has been called upon and 34 times they've answered. Join the team today and help send the prophets around the world. 12 tribes worldwide. Shalom.
I can't get enough of this word, call me library. All you do is talk, I tell them read, I be your pallbearer. As long as my hands clean, I'ma teach, I let the laws tear. You rebuck your doctrine, can't believe I even fell for it. Yeah. Bodies dropping, no top models, no need for worries, cause God got us. See, masculinity need to be shown for real. And all of you that's cross-dressing would be dressed to be killed. Apollo Creed, but I'm hitting like I'm Holyfield. You counting sheep, but you the hireling, the type to flee. This for the meat, when the battle won, they gnash their teeth. I can't believe I even fell for their hypocrisy. Like it or not, it's Kwam Yasharala. Laws attached to the brain, medulla oblongata. We are not the same over here, we walk with giants. 10 toes down with the clay is mixed with iron. I can't get enough of this word, call me library. All you do is talk, I tell them read, I be your pallbearer. As long as my hands clean, I'ma teach, I let the laws tear. You rebuck your doctrine, can't believe I even fell for it.
Minister. In this race, you gotta last just to finish first. I'm in a big league with the top prophets, warming up.
The black men and the black women are oppressed today by the so-called Caucasians.
That's right. Right.
My question to you is why? And you look like you didn't had enough of it too.
That's right.
You didn't felt the effects of oppression.
That's right. That's right.
Now we got to be over here for a reason. We took the time to set up. Got pictures, got a microphone. My question to you, and I must be asking you that for a reason, why are we oppressed today as black people? Come on over here, deal with it. I ain't gonna bite.
I don't want to step in the grass.
Because we got some solutions for you too.
That's right.
What do you think it is though? Why do you think we oppressed?
I don't know.
You don't know? But you know we are oppressed, right?
Yes, sir.
You give me some examples. If I was born yesterday and I didn't know no better, you give me some examples of us being oppressed.
Bring it out.
It ain't hard. What's our interaction like with the police? We just had a whole George Floyd incident. What's our interactions like with the police?
Not good.
Not very good, right?
Right.
How's our housing situation, sis? We live in mansions in the suburbs?
Don't die with it.
Okay. What about our job situation? We provide a lot of jobs to our people?
No, not really.
Would you agree that those are examples of oppression?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Now, my question was, why is that? That's the reason why we're out here today, is to give our people understanding, because everything that I just asked you about, you already know, right? What's your name, sis?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. Okay, my name is Enoch. So Aaliyah, everything that I asked you, you already know. As an adult, you can't help but not know this. Now, my question is, why is that? Do you believe in this Bible? You do believe in this Bible. Okay, so what does your church, or what do your understanding of the Bible tell you why this is happening to us as black people? Because I believe in this Bible. This Bible tells me about God and Jesus, how I'm going to be saved. But it don't tell me about why my slave masters own my house.
Right.
I rent from them. I go to work for them. That they can shoot me down and there will never be any justice in the American justice system. What does the Bible have to say about that? With the Bible of all answers. And you know what? That's a problem. You go to church?
No.
Okay, all praises. Because a lot of us in our community, we go to church, we pay our tithes, we give our pastors all of our time and our money, but yet they don't give you nothing but hims and whums and ahs.
That's right.
You walk out of there in the same condition that you live in. So I want you to be able to walk away, Aaliyah, right?
Yes, sir.
Our mission up here is to not only show you who you are in this Bible, but to provide you with spiritual and actual physical solutions to your oppression. Now, are you familiar with the Israelites of the Bible? Okay, so you know the story about coming out of Egypt, right? Being delivered from Pharaoh and whatnot. Aaliyah, you are, and as well as the rest of Black America, as Hispanic Native Americans, you are descendants of those same Israelites. What were they doing in Egypt? What happened to the Israelites in Egypt, sis? Give me Exodus 20 and 2. What happened in Egypt, sis? I'm going to show you right here. Read that.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2. Bring it up. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So God is reminding us through Moses that when we lived in Egypt, we were under hard bondage. You see these pictures right here?
Right.
We were under hard bondage, under slavery in Egypt, and God delivered us from that. You know the story, right? Okay. So when we're reading Exodus and we read in Leviticus and Numbers, that's the time of the Exodus, right? They were in transit from the physical land of Egypt to Jerusalem, right? Now, Moses is going to tell them what's going to happen if they don't keep God's commandments, because are you familiar with Israel being God's chosen? Okay, let me get that Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. Because believe it or not, black man, you are God's chosen people. You are special to him, and above all, you are basketball, just name a few. But you know you can take a job, get no training, and be able to run that thing the very next day, because we able to learn just that quickly. Give me this right here. This is what the pastor will show you this in church. Read what God says about Israel. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. Bring it up. For thou art an holy people.
How you doing, my brother? My brother with the blue shoes right over there. Come over here and talk with us.
English.
The thou. I was about to say it, I ain't gonna do it in Espanol. The thou, Aliyah, are a special people. Read.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Because remember, Moses is right now with Israel. Remember, that's the audience. He's talking to Israel, so he's addressing them. Thou art special people unto God. Read.
The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That's right.
You understood that, sis? Israel is to be above all people upon the face of the earth. But the white man, your lovely neighborhood white man, said that everybody's created what? So are we to go by God's word or man's word? We're to go by God's word, absolutely. So why don't they preach this in the church, that there is a nation that's supposed to be above all people? That is the order, right? That's what God just said, right? So now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. So there is a stipulation to being God's chosen. You have children, sis?
I have one kid.
You have one child, boy or girl?
A girl.
You have a girl. So there are things that she must do to be in your household, right? She's two, but there's still things that she must do, or that she's going to have to do, right? She can't be coming in at all hours of the night. She can't be bringing in boys, right? If you want to be my child, I'm going to give you certain rules that you must abide by to live in my house, right?
That's right.
And the rules that I give you are not to hurt you or to punish you, it's to make you a respectable young woman. Am I right?
Right.
You don't think God did the same thing with his laws to his people?
That's right.
So, we're going to read the stipulation. If you want to be God's chosen people above where what? Above who? All nations. This is what you must do. This is what God told us through his prophet Moses. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. Bring it out. And it shall come to pass if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So if Israel, if Aliyah, if you hearken diligently, that means if you listen, read.
To observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations on the earth.
So Moses is reminding Israel, he's reminding you, if you keep God's commandments, if you hearken diligently, you will be above all nations on the face of the earth. There is no equality when it comes to God. There must only be one nation that always rules. Are you familiar with this Bible at all, just in general history, like Babylon captivity? So when the Egyptians ruled, who else was on top with them? Nobody. When Babylon ruled, who else was on top with them? Nobody. Persia and Medes? Nobody. Rome? Nobody. America? Who could touch America? Nobody. Now, I don't care what they tell you as far as equality, there's always somebody on top and there's always somebody on bottom. And God says your rightful position, Aliyah, you and your nation are supposed to be on top. If you do what? If you can keep the commandments. Now, did we ever hear anything about if you be a Baptist? Did we hear anything about being a Catholic in that verse? Right. God said to Israel through Moses, if we keep his commandments. About sis right here. Sis right here with the glasses on. We're trying to give you, your nationality, solutions to our oppression. That's what we are here to do. If you got time, stick around, sis. Aliyah. So I asked you when you first walked up, why are we oppressed, right? So now we're about to get the answers. Because Moses told who was Moses speaking to? Israel, right? He told Israel if they keep God's commandments, they would be on high. Now we're going to get the stipulation. If you don't keep God's commandments, what's going to happen? You got an ID on you, sis? Your identification card shows who you are. It says Aaliyah, right? Got your birth date, got your address, maybe got your height and everything like that, right? So that identifies who you are, right? We're about to read the black man and the black woman's ID card right here. This is how you identify with yourself in this Bible, because the curses that Moses are going to say is going to be upon Israel only fit you and your people. But let the Bible say that. So now Moses said if we keep God's commandments, we will be above all nations. Here's the flip side. This is why we are oppressed as a people. Check it out. Read.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 15. Bring it out.
Your pastors will never show you this in the Bible because your pastors were taught by who you think? The white man.
That's
absolutely.
Right.
And your oppressor is never going to teach you anything to overcome them. They may tell you to go to school, they may tell you to get a career, get a college degree, but you will never rise above them to where they come to you for anything.
Right.
They will never show you that. So they can't show you your true revolutionary history in this Bible.
That's right.
Read.
But it shall come to pass,
It's going to happen.
if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
So if Israel does not keep God's commandments, what would happen?
And his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So here are the punishments to Israel for not keeping God's commandments. Now, when we read these punishments, you tell me, does it fit you and your people's history? This is how you know you're an Israelite, because only one group of people on this earth can say they've been oppressed as Israel has. My sister right over here. We trying to show you slavery in the Bible. I'm gonna just catch you up real quick. We reading about Moses speaking to Israel and what would happen to them. What, Aaliyah, what did Moses say? What would happen? What we read? What we just stop at?
That if they don't abide by God's commandments,
All these curses. So Moses is telling Israel what would happen to them. Now, let's read these curses, and you tell me that these curses fit the white man, the Chinese man, or the Russian man. And this is how you identify with being Israel. Read verse 16.
Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Israel will be cursed in the city and cursed in the field.
Right.
Who gets shot down in the cities? Black man. What just happened to George Floyd?
he didn't get shot, but he did get killed.
Philando Castile.
Got shot.
Our neighbor, the hoods over north.
Got shot.
Who's cursed? Who lives in the slums and the hoods and the ghettos?
Black.
Black people. But God says this would happen to Israel. There's no white Philando Castiles.
Right.
There's no Asian, what's that sister's name? Sandra Bland. It only happens to us. We're the only ones who get shot down, who lives in the hoods and ghettos. Now Moses is speaking to Israel and his people. But Israel's history is our history. Who also, it said Israel will be cursed in the field. Who worked on the plantation fields, in the cotton fields? Who worked there?
Black.
But didn't the Asians do that too? Didn't the Asians work on pick cotton and stuff like that? My sis, what's your name, sis? Sis with the Minnesota shirt. Didn't Asian people pick cotton too? They did when? What year? I'm being facetious. No, that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen. That don't apply to them.
Catch him up, baby.
That don't apply to them. Aaliyah, that don't apply to them, right? But it applies to black people, and Moses said this would happen to Israel.
Right.
The job field, remember I asked you earlier to give me some examples about us being oppressed? I asked you that because anything that you would say fits the curses that Moses said would happen to Israel.
That's right.
That's how you identify with this Bible, when you understand that you are an Israelite according to God.
That's right.
You are under the curses of God because of not doing what?
Right.
All praises. I'm going to give you some more curses so that way it makes sense. It says curse in the field. So that applies even to today, the work field. We're the last hired, we're the first fired. We're the ones with the lowest pay. We always have the servant jobs. We're PCAs, right? We're bed maids or whatever the case may be. We work as bellboys. We work at hotels. We're the ones who do the cleaning. We are still at the bottom. We don't really run companies. We're not the managers. We're not the CEOs. And if we are, it's only a few and far between. And best believe we better do what Master say, meaning coon for them.
Right.
If we want that high position, right? Most of us are at the bottom. We the bus drivers, and we don't own these companies. We work for them just as we did in the slave plantation days.
Right.
we still at the bottom of society, because now they say you need a degree, right? You need 5-year degrees, or you need whatever. Those are just new ways of making you a modern day slave.
Right.
Israel will be cursed in the city, and Israel will be cursed in the field. I'm bringing it back to why are we oppressed?
Right.
This is the answer now, you understanding. A certain group of people on this earth will be oppressed for not keeping God's commandments.
Right.
And if you are oppressed for not keeping God's commandments, what do you think the solution would be? If I'm gonna use your daughter. If your daughter don't want to be punished, and she don't want to get whooped, what must she do? Do right. So if Israel want to stop the oppression, what must they do? And do right meaning keep the commandments. Absolutely. That is the real solution. That is the solution that our people don't want to hear. You see we're set up right here. Why do you think we set up right here and not over in Edina, in the suburbs?
Bring it up.
Not black people, right? Our people. Our people need this word. Our people need God's laws, because God is only punishing them. He's not punishing the white man. That's why they're able to live comfortably in the suburbs. The white man is not cursed in the city. He's not cursed in the field. That's why there's no, again, white Emmett Tills, no white Sandra Bland's. They don't feel the curses that Israel feels. That's your people. That's why we came here, to give you the real solutions, because how long have we been marching, sis? How long have we been protesting? Brother man, how many politicians are black within the government, and we still are in the same conditions that we in? What's your name, young man?
Ray.
Ray? Come over here talking. We're trying to get biblical solutions to our problems.
That's right.
We helping you and understand why we are oppressed. Would you agree right now we are oppressed? Black people. What's your name? Ray. I'm sorry, my mind's everywhere. How old are you, sir? 21. Okay, that's pivotal age, because you're young, but you still have a lot of time to get right. Let me ask you this: do you believe in the Bible? What you waiting on the bus? So we got a little time, right? We'll see that bus come. You believe in this Bible, Ray? You hesitate.
I ain't gonna say that I don't, but it's some stuff in there that makes sense.
There's some stuff in there that makes sense, but some stuff that probably don't, right? What makes you question the Bible?
Probably that I've never actually read. I mean, I've looked at a couple pages.
Right. And who gives you your understanding of the Bible? Like when you do hear about the Bible, you open it up. Who gives it to you? Your grandma? Okay. And where do you think she got her learning from the Bible from? From her mom, right? What I'm alluding to, Ray, is when we were brought over here as slaves, you agree we couldn't read and write, right? So who taught us the Bible at one point in time? If we couldn't read and write, who taught us this Bible? The white man, Caucasians. Are you familiar with the term theology school? Theology school is where pastors go to learn about the Bible to be able to bring it back to their congregation. Theological schools. I might be saying that wrong, but you get the idea. It's a school where you learn about this Bible. Who do you think runs those schools? So in turn, when your grandma goes to her grandma or her father, she's really going to somebody else who has interpreted this Bible, which is why you question it. Because the stuff that they're going to tell you does not always make sense. Your enemy, the ones who put you in slaves and shackles, you think they're ever going to show you anything that's going to help you prosper as a man, as a nation? Absolutely. They're not going to show you this Bible the way it should be, because you know about Adam and Eve, right? Everybody came from Adam and Eve. So if this Bible starts from the beginning of civilization, of human beings on this earth, where do you find yourself in this Bible? All people should be in this Bible somewhere. If we all come from Adam and Eve, where do you see yourself, Ray? And that's the problem, because we don't. Our oppressors don't show us ourselves in this Bible. That's what I was doing with the sister before you walked up Aaliyah. I was showing her herself in this Bible, because you understand that you are in this Bible, and you understand the position, the predicaments that you are actually about being oppressed. That's how I got you to come over here. Our oppression is also in this Bible, as well as solutions. I was asking this, that's why we're standing up here. You got to ask yourself, why is brothers on a hot Saturday afternoon got speakers and the signs of pictures of slavery and all that kind of stuff? What's the whole point of coming out here? Do we ask you for money yet? No, we ain't gonna ask you for money. We out here for your salvation.
That's right.
I know the bus coming, so I'm gonna try to make it quick. We're gonna watch out for you. I'm gonna make it quick. Give me Deuteronomy 28 verse 15. You know the story of Moses coming out of Egypt, right? This is Moses speaking. Give me 27:1 verse first. This is Moses speaking to his people. You are the descendants of Israel. Those people who came out of Egypt, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Naphtali, Ephraim. You are those people. This is what God calls you. He calls you Judah. But your oppressor renamed you after slavery. Now calls you black, African American, Negro. That's what they call you. But you will never find those terms in the Bible. Give me this right here.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 27 and verse 1. Bring it up. And Moses with the elders of Israel.
The audience of this Bible has always been Israel. That's why we're here looking for Israel. We're not out everywhere in the suburbs looking for Caucasians or Russians or Arabs. We're looking for Israel. You may not know that you're Israel, but we know who you are, and that's why we're here looking for you. Our audience is for our people. So we're coming to the places where most of our people are. Moses speaking to Israel. Give me 28 verse 15. This is Moses prophesying about why we will be oppressed today. Give me that.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So Ray, if you and your people, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, if you don't listen to God, read.
To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So we're living under curses right now. Moses said that curses would be upon his people. Is this your bus right here? Yeah. You got a flyer, Ray? All praises. Take a look at that flyer. There's more information on there than you could ever learn in school. Follow up with us on our website. Give us a call. We can go in more into depth in this. All right? All praises to the Most High. And I'm going to go ahead and give us some images. Because my brother Ray hesitated because a lot of times we think that this is a white man's book. But you won't find nothing white about our ancestors in this Bible at all. We talking about Moses. Give me the book of Exodus chapter 4, verse 6. For Exodus 4 and 6. Let's see what Moses was. Was he a black man? Was he, what was that movie, The Ten Commandments? Was that Charlton Heston? Charlton Heston, because that's what our oppressors tell us. And believe it or not, when they say that God is white, Christ is white, they're doing nothing but pushing white supremacy.
Right.
You can't prove anywhere in this Bible that God is a white man, that Christ is a white man.
Right.
But then they'll put you in a trick bag and they'll say, well, why does that matter? It has everything to matter, because if it didn't matter at all, then why use him as that image?
Right.
Give me this right here.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 4 and verse 6. Bring it up. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, put now thine hand into thy bosom.
So this is Moses speaking to God. He's telling God he needs a sign, because he's going to go back to Egypt to tell his people how to get out of oppression, but he don't think that they'll believe that God is dealing with them. So he needs a miracle or two to bring back. So God said, Moses, take your hand and put it into your coat. Put it into your bosom. Read.
And he put his hand into his bosom.
Yes.
And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow.
His hand was leprous as snow. That means white. He took his black hand out and it was white. Read.
And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out of his bosom. And behold, it was turned again as his other flesh.
So when he put his hand back into his coat, and then when he took his hand back out, it was back as the rest of his flesh, his arm, his body, all was black.
Right.
Why would that be a miracle if he was already a white man?
Right.
Why would that be a miracle at all? It's a miracle because he was a black man.
That's right.
Our forefather Moses, given that in 1 Maccabees 3, our forefather Moses, as well as our forefathers David, Christ, Solomon, anybody, they all were black men, and they all were out to teach their people that they must come back to keeping God's laws.
That's right.
Believe it or not, black man, black woman, the prophets are back on this earth today, and we're out here for you.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.